I feel like it's been a minute since we last did one of these. But anyways, haircut, how good? Wow, I'm a bit tired. We've had a whole day of doing a whole bunch of admin, not a lot of operating, and we need fuel. Okay, we need a whole bunch of fuel. Very nice. We have been running on empty for a while, and I can't remember when the orange light turned on, when the fuel light turned on, but I suspect quite a while. So we'll have to sort that out and go from there. But in terms of what we're going to run through today, I've been getting a lot of stuff in my comments about, is it all worth it? Should I, at the end of the road doing medicine and all that, is it worth it at the end of the day? And do I regret it? Do I enjoy it? I mean, it's kind of a tricky question to answer. I know for me it's worth it, of course. I don't doubt that. But for other people, would it still be worth it if they did the same thing that I did and, went through the same stuff and, the same experiences? I don't know. It's up for them. So yeah, it's a tricky thing for me to answer for everyone else, but I guess for me personally, sure. But that's because I feel like I have good enough reasons for doing it, still keep on doing it, and yeah, I just enjoy it. Like, I didn't sign up to it for some false reason or like very superficial idea. I really thought about why I wanted to do medicine and stuff, and then I was like, no, yeah, like let's keep doing it. And I really thought about like the whole longevity of it all. So I don't know, it really makes you wonder when you think, or when you get these people asking these questions, are they doubting committing, or are they just contemplating like a really good question about should they actually do it? Should they commit? Or is it something that maybe they're not too keen on and they need to switch careers, or maybe they need to do something slightly different to medicine? And it's not a bad idea, but like a lot of people think about it not enough, They don't actually consider what it looks like in terms of practically every day for the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. What does it actually look like for someone who is doing medicine, who's training to be a doctor, who's specialising in A, B, or C? What does that look like for them in the next 15 years? And because I have like a constant like idea about where my roadmap is, what my runway is, then I'm not fussed if, say, there's a week and I'm like, oh, this is a bit busy. In the big picture of things, like, is this what I want to be doing? And each day, is this what I want to be doing? I'm constantly like checking in and validating or questioning that reasoning. So yeah, I don't know, like, am I like waking up each day and thinking, I'm so happy to be a doctor and stuff? I'm like, I don't know. I don't really have that thought, but I enjoy what I do each day. I'm having fun. I'm hanging around with people I want to hang around with. I'm doing stuff that I want to do. It's fun. It's interesting. I learn heaps and all that stuff. Yeah. So I don't need like some like massive like drive, some like big motivating push of like enthusiasm or whatnot to get me up out of bed each morning. It's the same reason I like enjoy playing like, I don't know, something fun and like, simple as like Call of Duty. Like, I just enjoy playing it, Not saying that medicine's like a video game at all or anything like that, but I don't know. You do stuff that you like, that you have fun with, that you want to do, and you want to hang out with people who you want to hang out with and all that. Why is this making this noise? That's kind of frustrating. Anyways, that's why I do it. So if you're thinking, well, should I keep doing medicine? Should I even start on this medical journey? Well, just consider like what you're doing it and what you're doing it for. There are a whole bunch of things that people do that they don't actually think properly about. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that people do that they don't think like properly about, and then they like get like 2 years into it, and then they're like, why did I do that to begin with, you know? And that's the problem that people have, is that they don't actually consider the right reasons or deep enough reasons for doing something. So if you have thought about it and you've thought like what it looks like next year, the year after, in 5 years, 10 years, even if you don't know where you'll be, even if you just think about, well, do I actually enjoy doing it? And could I see myself doing something similar in the next 5 years or so? That's a good enough reason. You don't need to have like a proper structural outline of your step-by-step framework of what your life looks like as a doctor. You just need to focus on the simple things and answer simple questions. Do I like what I'm doing? Am I enjoying hanging out with the people I'm currently hanging out with or I'm going to hang out with? And could I keep doing this? Like, is it something that I would get bored of or, not have fun with in an ongoing sense, in an ongoing fashion? So yeah, that's all you have to do. And then I think I reverse engineer it, and I think, well, how did I get here in the first place? I did subjects I liked. I did subjects I was good at. I hung out with friends that I wanted to hang out with, and I did activities that I enjoyed and was interested in, like I did work experience at like the hospital, and I was interested in like learning about science and maths and all that stuff. So it was like a no-brainer, like it just worked itself out. And that's the same thing with all this medical stuff. It'll work itself out if you just keep on focusing on simple things, What else has been happening? I don't know, we've switched jobs now. So like we were on like general surgery, and now we're on like urology and doing like senior stuff there, which is good. So lots of operating, lots of like responsibility, clinic, etc. Yeah, it's good fun. I feel like it's much busier to the job that I was previously doing at the start of the year. You level up when you thrust into all this like responsibility and stuff and pressure. You actually just you have to adapt. You have to like be better and like get good at stuff. Otherwise you just feel like, I don't know, not good. Why is this? So sick of this. Oh, that's better. Why didn't I just do that to begin with? So yeah, anyways, it's just like you become really busy, you get good at stuff, and because you're forced to become like more efficient, quicker, faster, you can't like fluff around and like spend time like not doing the right stuff. I don't know. I think it just like levels you up so much, and you don't have the luxury of having time to do everything. Sure, it is sometimes like, puts you under pressure. It can be somewhat stressful and busy and tiring, but I don't know. I've never been like, adverse to like having that sort of experience. I think it makes you a better doctor, a better person, because you put under pressure. I think I operated okay under pressure, and you really start to clarify what you need, what you want, really get specific with things, whereas maybe you might fluff around and do stuff that's not important if you're not under that same pressure, that same experience. So yeah, anyways, it's been good. It's been interesting trying to negotiate that new role with like just you know, everyday life, being busy and stuff, you get a taste for what it's like potentially to be like on call. Because at the moment, like, I'm currently on call each day, not overnight, but during the day I'm on call, and it is kind of like, you know, it's very interrupting. Like, you get interrupted a whole lot, and it's kind of tricky to fit in work. I mean, if you think about it, like, you're on call like all day, and if you're allocated to stuff, like you're allocated to clinic or to the operating theatre or to, should I get fuel here? I probably should get fuel here. Let's go do this. Anyways, so if you're allocated to all that stuff and then you can't do it, you can't go like see patients and stuff, or, you know, everything like that, then you're forced just to wait and do it later, unless it's like an urgent responsibility, and then you have to delay whatever you're allocated to, whether it be clinic or theatre. So it's a good balancing act. Anyways, we're gonna get our fuel and then we're gonna keep driving, so we'll do that. All right, let's get out of here. We are refueled and ready to go, which is good. So yeah, I think that to answer that question and just put a cap on it, that's the main thing you need to consider before you actually get into this whole thing, is a good real reason why you want to do it in the first place, and then you won't have these issues of, you know, these superficial questions of like, is it worth it? And, you know, don't know if I could have gone there, but I did, so there you go. Yeah, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question. So I guess life updates as well. We're gonna take a year off next year and do some more like research stuff and less clinical stuff, which is kind of good, just to mix it up. I think it's a good move. This year's definitely been pretty busy, and I don't know, you just you don't have as much time as you want to do other stuff, especially when you take on a more senior level of responsibility, and it is not as senior compared to like some of the other guys who are on the training program and, you know, doing all this stuff, and even like consultants and stuff. Like, they are very much on the busier end, but I guess it's a good chance, it's a good opportunity to have a sort of a dynamic, you know, path to, you know, the way you want to work as a junior doctor. And, you know, a lot of people take off a year around this time, you know, PGY 2, 3, 4, to do a locum year, explore your options. They might do some research like I'm trying to do. They might also, I don't know, take a year off medicine and completely just like rethink why they're doing it to begin with, which is what we were just talking about. Slightly more interesting take on it all. But yeah, I don't know, like, it's not like I don't want to do medicine. It's like I want to do all this stuff, but it's kind of hard to do adjacent stuff or whatever, like when you're constantly bombarded by clinical responsibilities. So yeah, that's the issue with the clinical side of things, is it's very taxing, very time consuming, and you don't get a lot of time outside all that stuff to do, you know, research or volunteering or other like CV building things or whatnot. So, or study, yeah, even that as well. So yeah, I think next year will be more of a year to change it up a little bit, do something slightly different, and a little bit less clinical, which will be good. But yeah, it's more of a necessary thing rather than a thing I sort of want to do it as well, but yeah, it's kind of good just to change it up. I feel like it's almost like a gap year of sorts. I never really had a gap year. I just got, you know, cracked on and got straight into it. So I think it's because I usually just get bored and just always want to do stuff. Like, I like being busy. I'm that sort of type of person. So, yeah. But yeah, I wonder how it'll go next year. So, yeah, we'll see what it is. I guess as a separate note, if you haven't checked out my other thing that I've got going on, I've been interviewing a whole bunch of other doctors and soon-to-be doctors or medical students or whatever, and just like figuring out their path into medicine and specialization. I think it's a cool take to learn about. I mean, selfishly, I'm doing it because I don't know a lot about how other people get into medicine and how they specialize in their different fields. But unselfishly, I think it will actually help a bit of people, because I know when I'm figuring it out, or when I was trying to figure it all out, and probably still am, you need to have someone who's been there, done that, knows the way in, understands what does and doesn't matter, and go from there. Like, it's very tricky to pave the way yourself and not actually know who or what you need to do or need to speak to, and what courses you need to do, and how your CV should look or how it does look, and how to improve that. So yeah, it's a good thing to actually. Why are we stopping? Pedestrians crossing the road. It's probably a good reason to stop, to be honest. Anyways, unexpected. I didn't see them. So, can't even remember what we're saying. But anyways, whatever that was, and we'll move on to the next point. Oh yeah, doctor's journey. That's what I've been doing. I've been doing like some little podcast where I talk to doctors about, how they got into med and how they specialized. And I just don't know that much about it. And I don't think a lot of people do. It's always changing. It's kind of a convoluted path, and it's frustrating how difficult it is or can be, and how much it changes. Like, one year it's a centralized process, and you just have to, apply it to some, organization or whatever, and the application divides you and splits you up into different places. And then maybe there's one, specialty that does it through a hospital-based thing rather than a centralized process. It's all just like a bunch of different things for each different specialty, which is kind of frustrating and confusing. So it's probably easier just to focus in on one thing, but at least this way you get a sample of what it looks like to do A or to do B. You know what I mean? So yeah, that is what else I've been doing, which has been, it's been keeping me busy, to be honest. It's good fun, but yeah, I don't know. That's just the same thing. It gets back to our original point about, well, why would I even start this whole YouTube, social media thing if I don't want to keep doing it for ages and I'm not interested in it? I've really thought about it for a while, and I really thought, well, what's something that I could keep doing for years? Like, what's my runway with this whole thing? And you see a lot of people start and stop and not really commit and everything like that, and give up or stop doing it. I don't know, I really don't want to do that. It's too interesting to stop, that's what I feel like anyways. So the reasoning is good enough for me to keep going, and for it to practically fit into my lifestyle, and also for me to keep doing it if I become more senior, if I travel, if I just literally plug in a camera and talk to it, make sure my mic's plugged in, which I hope it is. Looks like it is. So yeah, that's the way it sort of works. It's got to be adaptable. It's got to be practical. It can't take a huge time commitment, and it can just fit in with my life. And I think that one of the things with which this is cool is that, when I do different things in medicine, that creates more content, creates more stories, creates a different facet for me to explore. Whereas some things, if you've already done it, you've already completed it, I don't know, you might get sick of talking about it or bored of it, and I didn't really want to have that happen. So picking a field which is constantly growing, you're constantly learning and adapting in it, I mean, that's just a good reason to do anything, let alone pick a career in medicine or a certain specialty, which is always evolving, adapting, growing. So yeah, I think choosing something, and doesn't have to be specific, it just has to be like good enough in the sense that it can constantly like change and adapt and suit you and make sense for you. It's not like something that is almost like one-dimensional. Like, I'd want something that is able to grow and change and adapt. So a specialty that does that is so important for you. And a specialty like psychiatry might not do that for me, or geriatric medicine might not do that for me, but maybe a field like surgery or something would do that for me. So that's where it comes into like, person specific choices in terms of making sure it's all worth it for you. Because the same decision might not be worth it for someone else because they're not willing to do this or do that to get to that position, or they don't want to be on call every night, or they don't want to do like big fancy brain surgeries, so yeah. Really interesting hearing different people's perspectives on it all, and seeing people come up through the ranks, and you're like, oh, I remember when I was like an intern, or like a junior doctor, like a resident, like I still am a junior doctor, but like you see them be part of your team because like obviously you're the constant there as like the senior doctor, and then as the junior doctors come through, you see them and they're like interested in A and they're not interested in that or whatever. So they might be doing the specialty that you're keen on for different reasons. Maybe they just allocated it. Maybe they're doing it just for money, and it's just part of their rotation. They might be keen on something completely different, which is good. But you just teach them, they learn, they get like a specific teaching from it, and then they move on and do whatever they want to do for their specialty and whatever they're interested in. So yeah, it's kind of cool that in medicine is that, if you're not into something, you're not like actually vibing with a certain area, I mean, you'll find your people, you'll find like what you're interested in, and which people you actually get along with, and which patient group you're actually interested in teaching and helping and treating. So yeah, one of the other things that I didn't actually expect to be speaking to this person, but something came up and we wanted to I wanted to chat about it and let them know what happened. And it's just someone got a job that I was talking to beforehand and gave some pointers on the interview process, and ended up telling that this, like my old boss who recommended this person for the job anyways, that they got it. And we just got chatting, and it was kind of nice to actually have that conversation, that experience where you're still keeping in touch with like these people who are actually in your corner, who are like mentoring you and guiding you along the way. They've been there, done that, and realized what the road looks like and what you need to do. And it's really reassuring to have that support, because I mean, as I said before, like it's really hard just to pave the way yourself. Not that it's like impossible to do it, but it's just like, why would you do it if there's like easier routes? I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time, doing something if it's not going to help me. Whereas if I can just like get the answers straight away and there's an easier way of doing it, path of least resistance, you know? So it's the smarter, more efficient, more clinical way of doing it. And if I could figure it out myself and not have anyone help me, I don't know, like, is that more likely, or is it just more likely that I'd rather just talk to the right people who have been in that same situation, who can offer me like good advice and useful, valuable advice that will save me time and energy. So I'd much rather the latter option if I had to pick. And I don't have to pick, like, I'd rather just choose that. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's funny because, like, obviously a lot of the time these doctors change jobs. They go across to different hospitals each year, and they're constantly like swapping and changing around. So unless you reach out, unless you make a good strong effort to stay in touch with these people, I don't know, like, they'll always get busy and have their own stuff going on, and it's a two-way street, you know. Like, obviously if you reach out to them but they're not reaching out to you, then much of a muchness. But as a person who wants and is seeking mentorship from people, you know, I think it's really important that the onus is on you to make that call and reach out and get that support that you're looking for. So yeah, super important. I don't think that I could understate it enough, that idea of, you know, having that mentor to guide you into like finding your like little niche, your area, is super important, and just like a bit of a cheat code, honestly, because they've already been there and done that, and they're, you know, able to give stuff and give advice what they did that was good and what worked, but then they're also able to see what didn't work, and then they just advise you what to do differently. So it's going to be different for every person, of course, but, you know, if you can just save a mistake or two because that other person has just experienced it and he's going to pass on that information to you, unreal. And you actually get to see, it's kind of interesting going up into this like slightly more senior position. You're exposed to more people who are in similar boats to you, and you're like, well, I'm sort of a part of this group now where there's lots of people vying for that, for those like opportunities to, you know, become more senior, to become, you know, better at that job, level up, etc. So yeah, it's cool to see everyone doing it their own way and having their own mentors and stuff like that. So yeah, I think however you do it, you shouldn't actually do it alone. And whether you're a medical student trying to like figure it out and working out what specialty to even start with, even if it's just broad strokes like medical versus critical care versus you know, surgical, just having a mentor to guide you into which would suit you best and which would vibe with your personality and everything like that. That's all you need. They don't even need to be in the same specialty you're in. They just need to know you and know what you're about and who you are as a person. I think that's the most important thing. Getting pretty hungry. I need to start bringing lunch to work again. I've been getting pretty lazy, and I guess, you know, instead of eating, you just have coffee and then you just eat when you come home. And it's not a bad idea. It's just like, I get like, you know, I lack a bit of energy in that last hour or so of work. So if something comes up, kind of like annoyed, like I need more energy. But not eating a massive meal in the middle of the day means, well, I feel like I'm just, you know, less sleepy, more energized. If I'm eating like a massive, you know, bowl of like pasta or something, I just go into like, you know, bit of like a food coma, as it was, and then I get like super sleepy. So running off coffee though isn't probably the best thing for me. Maybe I should have like some snacks that I bring along for work. Should do that. Because right now, what have I eaten all day? I've just had coffee. I've had like 3 or 4 coffees, that's it. I had some crackers. Actually, I stole some crackers. Well, I didn't steal. They're on offer for everyone. I had some crackers at work, some plain crackers. But that wasn't enough. Definitely wasn't enough. I also had a couple of questions about like getting into like different specialties, how hard it is, you know, which ones are easy, which ones are not so easy. I mean, I think arguably you're gonna have this bottleneck where all the specialties will become tougher and tougher to get into the longer it goes on for. If there's only so many jobs that can go around, and you know, there's only so many spaces that you can have to fill those jobs. So the more popular a specialty becomes, the more competitive it is, therefore the tighter the bottleneck. And I think a lot more specialties are leaning into this way, but there'll always be like those that just have less spots that are competitive for everyone, whether it be local graduates or, you know, international medical graduates, whatever it is. I don't know. I think you know, the less spots, the less chances. In general, it's just more competitive that way. But I don't think that should deter you. I think that if you like want to do something bad enough, like you want to do like, say, I don't know, orthopedics, and it's a bit tricky to get into, but you still have a really strong drive, really good reasons to do it, I don't think that you should say, well, it's competitive, I should think about something else. It's just weighing up the pros and cons of how much time you're willing to spend on it, and realizing that there's a lot of people who want to do it and they're willing to spend just as much, if not more time on it than you or as you. So having that awareness is a good thing, and then just making a call as to, well, how long should I persist with this? So some of the specialties now have like limits as to how many times you can apply for specialties, or how many chances you can do, and often it might be like 3 or 4 or so. So yeah, I think just having a good conversation with yourself and saying, well, is this really what we want to do? It is? Okay, cool. Let's go all in and just and smash it out of the park. So yeah, maybe sometimes too many people are not certain about like the specialty that they want to go into, and therefore may get discouraged at how much work or how much effort it takes. And I don't think it's like a fact of being certain, like I'm definitely going to be like an orthopedic surgeon and I'm so convinced that I'm going to you know, car doing weird things, that I'm so convinced that I'm going to be like yeah, an orthopedic surgeon, and nothing else could ever possibly, you know, satisfy me in terms of a career. You don't even have to have that like level of like enthusiasm, you know. You just have to be like, well, I like bones, I like, you know, doing operations like surgery. Out of the surgical options, I think this one would suit me most, and let's just go and do it, you know. So that's all you have to do, and then just at the baseline realize that there's a lot of work that comes with it. So that's it, you know. Anyways, we should call it there. I'm gonna go upstairs and get some food, but hopefully that just answers a few questions about the bigger picture, and then also like the little pictures, you know, because ultimately like the big picture of, you know, where am I going to be in the next 5 years, like will work itself out if you focus on small things like, do I enjoy doing what I'm doing? Do I have fun? Do I, get up and hate my job, or do I actually enjoy it? That's all you need to worry about. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. And if you haven't already seen, I've got this on like audio only now as well. So if you don't want to see my face and you'd rather just listen to my voice, if that is a thing, I don't know if I'd rather that, but hey, if that's you, then you can listen on your podcast player of choice. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.